So my name is Helen Pankhurst, and I'm Emmeline Pankhurst's great-granddaughter. We're here today at the GM for Women 2028 initiative, which is looking at the data for Greater Manchester and saying what's going on. Are the lives of women getting better? And if so, can we measure that? We're people from different organisations, and we've been working on this for a while, so this is the second year of data, so we can compare with last year. 10 indicators, and what we're finding on quite a few indicators that things are not getting better, and we really need to push for that to happen. So take one example. With work, we've got two indicators. One is the number of women and men in employment. So, is there an employment gap? And the reality is that there is an employment gap, so fewer women are employed, and that gap is increasing. On the other hand, the pay gap in terms of the amount of money has decreased a bit. The gap has decreased. So from 14%, I think it is, to 13%. So that's a mixed indicator. If you take participation, 18% of women in the GMC, so the cabinet, Greater Manchester Cabinet, only 18% are women. That's not changed over the last 2 years. We want to see that change. If you look at the number of women that are appointed as judges, that's improved a bit. If you look at the data on safety, violence against women, we're finding really poor data. It's difficult to look year in, year out to see what women's experiences are. But from the data that we do have, it's very worrying. If you look at women in employment, the number of students studying STEM across the different universities, the number of women has gone down from 18% to 17%. And I could explain all 10 indicators, but basically we've still got so much to do.
So what needs to be done in the next 8-9 years?
So in the next 8 years to 2028, we need commitment from everybody, from local government, from institutions, from employers, from employees, from individuals, to say, come on, Greater Manchester, we were the radical place, we want to do better. What can we individually do? What can we collectively do? And we feel that strongly showing the data and saying, institutions, what can you do about this? Greater Manchester Council, what can you do about this? Universities, what can you do about this? Is a way forward. And not just saying it's somebody else's responsibility in 5 or 10 years' time. It's all of our responsibility starting now.
My Alfie was a lovely man, so kind and worked so hard. The day he went away to war, I found this little card. His words are our secret, but I show you this because he signed it, Votes for Women, with a kiss, an X, a cross. We both believed in fairness and what's fair and true and right. We both believed in courage and to stand up in a fight. Your country needs you posters said what Alfie had to do. But we cried when he was leaving, and I said, I need you too. We'd always gone to rallies side by side and hand in hand. We'd always taken pride in taking time to take a stand for rights of fellow workers, and with love, our one true boss. For our kisses placed on ballot sheets, the people's vote, a cross. Just 2 lines drawn with a pencil, just 2 lines drawn in a square, but 2 lines with such potential and such strength embodied there. Tell your fathers, tell your mothers, tell your boys and tell your girls. Swap your suffering for suffrage, and together change the world. I loved him with a passion, just the gentlest of men. One day we went to Heaton Park to hear a speech, and then a woman's voice, the best speaker we'd seen. They called her somewhat rotten, but we called her Emmeline. Us working men and women, we should find a common cause. And that was Alfie's passion as they sent him off to war. Then one day I got a telegram, unopened, just new. My Alfie, darling Alfie, he died brave and strong and true. Brave and strong and true. I wept for days and nights, and for the baby and the kids. I prayed for strength and courage just like me and Alfie did. I found it with a passion fueled by justice, love and loss. So brave his unmarked grave that we should mark it with a cross. Just 2 lines drawn with a pencil, just 2 lines drawn in a square, but 2 lines with such potential and such strength embodied there. Tell your fathers, tell your mothers, tell your boys and tell your girls. Swap your suffering for suffrage, and together change the world. With no husband And the children, life was pitiless and hard. But I got through with my sisters, and the words on Alfie's card and his picture in a locket with his face against my chest, and I held it as I prayed at night. I clutched it to my breast. And with men at war, the country saw what women here could do. And the home front, it was women, fearless women, got us through. With our courage and our spirit, fought the battles, won the war, and with votes for all amongst the call of what we're fighting for. Now I often walk in Heaton Park and think of Emmeline, and of Alfie and his passions and his courage and his dreams. But he never ever came home, never voted. Such a loss. But I think of him each time I leave, a kiss, an X, a cross. Just 2 lines drawn with a pencil, just 2 lines drawn in a square, but 2 lines with such potential and such strength embodied there. Tell your fathers, tell your mothers, tell your boys and tell your girls. Think of losses, crosses, kisses, and together
Change the world.
Think of losses, crosses, kisses, and together
Change the world.
Congratulations today. Good luck. Thank you. It's a privilege to be here.
So it's all right. 2 years ago, this very day, wearing this coat, I'm slightly embarrassed to say, I started filming a documentary called Emmeline Pankhurst, The Making of a Militant. And it was a day that it was a thing that me and my business partner Caroline Roberts-Cherry did together, and it opened my eyes to this amazing woman, but also to how the fact that we've not really got much farther yet, and that's the annoying thing. Like yesterday, 2 years later, I was very lucky to be on a panel at the RTS Awards. It was in London, but it was still a massive example, and there was 27 entries came in from the best TV writers. 26 of them were male. And one, Sally Wainwright, was Sally Wainwright. But we can't just have a Sally Wainwright. We've got to have 50-50. So our pledge in our business is to use female writers, to use female crew, to use female production. Well, we are production, so that's sorted. But to use as many females and to split a crew as much as you can. I know it's nothing and it's our industry, but I think that's what this today is about. It's about what can you do in your industry to change that. What pledge can you make? And we, 2 years later, are really making progress in that. But what was so depressing about these figures, even though this is so vital to do, because we wouldn't know. Everybody tells us there's more female writers. How many meetings, Caroline, do we go to and they say, yes, we want diversity, we want women writers. And then you get to a bloody thing like yesterday and there aren't any. So we need stuff like this to show the truth of what actually is happening, not what we're being told is happening. No, it's fine. We can't just have a token Sally Wainwright here and there. We have to have literally 50% of everything. Else, what's the point? Yeah? So that's my pledge in our industry to be gobby and to carry on. And I just think it's a wonderful day. Hopefully, next year we'll have even more people come in and these figures will be better. And it's a struggle, as Emmeline knows, it's a struggle. But we just have to keep having to plod on in that even if it's one more women writer gets a series, one more women DOP gets a job in our industry, it's the way forward. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm sure you are all trying to do it in your industries as well. But thank you for having me here. I'll keep working with the Pankhurst Centre. Keep coming here and love it. Look, how many pictures I've got of my boys with this statue? It's absolutely ridiculous. They're like, are we going to Alan Turing and are we going to Emmeline again? I said, yes, you are. Thank you.
For Manchester Central, where we are now. I'm still the only woman MP in Manchester. It's not on this chart, but still would be stagnating on that as well. But it's good to come here, isn't it? And I think this statue, we are using it as it was intended for. Andrew and the council's vision was that this would be a place of gathering. This would be a place where we would come and demand that we still had a long way to go to get equality for women, not just here in Manchester, but across the country. So thank you to Andrew Simcock, who's here, for giving us this space that we can congregate around every year and in between every year as well. So I'm just here to say thank you for all this work that you've been doing to highlight that we've still got a long way to go here in Greater Manchester to get equality. We've got the statistics here in front of us. Some are going backwards, but frankly, it's a picture of stagnation. And that is just not good enough. We're 50% of the population, and we do more than 50% of the work, and we bring up more than 50% of the kids, and we want more than 50% of the voice, and we want more than 50% of the representation and the equality. So we need to keep gathering here, we need to keep doing initiatives like this until we get the equality that we need, because shining a light on it is one of the best and most effective ways that we can address these issues. So thanks so much for inviting me, for all coming, and for most of all, thank you for this amazing space that we've now got here in Manchester that we can spontaneously gather in, listen to Claire, try and spell, and some fantastic poetry that we've got coming up as well. Tony is here with us too. So thanks very much for coming.